I'm JP Tuesday.
And I'm Kiki Canon. As lifelong Disney fans, the work of countless talented Disney creatives have shaped our lives.
Now, as the Disney catalog expands, we're taking a journey through film and television to discover if that spark that shaped us as children lives on in adulthood.
Does your favorite Disney media still cast that same spell? Join us as we find out. We are Rewatching the Magic.
Hi, Kiki.
Hi, Tuesday.
Before we get into our thing here, we have a bit of a sponsor this week.
Yay, sponsor!
Yes, it is MarsCon 2021. You and I both attended MarsCon last year, right before the pandemic hit.
Yeah, that was the last time I saw people.
Yeah, me too. Unfortunately, the dumpster fire that was 2020 has yet to be extinguished. So MarsCon 2021 will be an entire virtual convention this year. We do have a promo advertising our good friends at the MarsCon comedy music track. It has been rebranded.
Rebranded.
It has been rebranded. There has been some confusion over the previous name. But they want to rebranding to tell people that they are of a comedy music variety and not of anything else. So the MarsCon comedy music track promo, and we're going to put that right here.
The world's longest running comedy music concert series is coming from inside your house.
Wow, that went to a dark place.
Virtual MarsCon 2021 is taking place online for free on March 12th, 13th, and 14th.
Hi, MarsCon!
This year's event will have live stream performances by The Great Luke Ski, Devo Spice, Worm Quartet, Insane Ian, TV's Kyle and Linzilla, Ilnage, Beth Kinderman, Tom Smith, Throwing Toasters, Amy Englehart, an AMA interview with Ookla the Mop, and this year's music guest of honor, Robbie Ellis. We'll also be doing a virtual Q&A with the man who has been playing drums in Weird Al Yankovic's band for over 40 years, John Bermuda Schwartz. Drum solo! For info on how to watch, go to MarsCon.com. And for info on the comedy music track, go to MarsConComedy.com.
And do watch out for flying lobsters.
Thanks for listening, funny music fans. And I hope to see you all at Virtual MarsCon 2021.
Wow. What an excellent promo that I surely just heard with my own ears.
Yeah, a lot of acts there. Do have a bit of a Disney connection. Our good friend Grant Pachoco of the band Throwing Toasters, member of the Jim Henson Group, who was involved. He was one of the puppeteers involved with the Disney Plus series Earth to Ned.
Yeah.
But most people might know that he was one of the puppeteers for the reboot of Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yeah. And also might know that toilet paper guy that we're always on about. Friend of the show.
He is the executive producer of Toilet Paper.
Yeah.
Of course, Ookla the Mock. You may not know the name, but if you were watching Saturday morning cartoons around 2002, they did the theme song for the TV series Fillmore, which is a Disney show. Not on Disney Plus, though.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll get that before too much longer.
Yeah, and more stuff is going to be announced from MarsCon soon. MarsCon.org, MarsCon.com, and it will be virtual. They have pictures there for Discord, Twitch, and Zoom. So you'll be able to be there wherever you are. You can enjoy the fun of MarsCon from your very own home this March. Moving on to the big one we're going to talk about this week, the Black Cauldron. And this one was a request by our good friend Insane Ian. Last month, sort of the black sheep of Walt Disney Animation. The main reason we're really, and to the point where we decided we're going to take this opportunity to dedicate this month to the unsung Disney princesses. What is a Disney princess? What qualifies someone to be a Disney princess? So officially, the Disney princesses that are part of the Disney Princess brand are Snow White, Cinderella, Aurora, Ariel, Belle, Jasmine, Pocahontas, Mulan, Tiana, Rapunzel, Merida, and Moana. those are the official Disney princesses. You can buy a Disney princess doll of them. So why are they the Disney princesses and no one else? So there's actually requirements to be a Disney princess officially. So the main rule is they have to be a central character in a Disney or Pixar film. So this disqualifies anyone in Marvel. This disqualifies anyone from Star Wars. So yeah, Princess Leia is not a Disney princess, unfortunately.
The Walt Disney or the Pixar brand.
Yes. Also, central characters. This also disqualifies characters like what's her name from Peter Pan? Tiger Lily.
Yeah.
She was not
Tiger Lily, not. And some of the Disney princesses are the daughters of chief, you know. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a king situation there. They count tribal chiefs as well.
Yes.
But
you have to be yes.
But Tiger Lily just is not in Peter Pan enough to be considered a Disney princess. Yeah.
The character must be human. Sorry, Maid Marian.
Yeah, or some sort of humanoid appearance. So Ariel counts because mermaids are at least half human, and she does turn into a human by the end of the movie.
Yes.
Tinkerbell used to be part of the line, and they counted her because, except for the wings, she is otherwise human in appearance.
Yeah, they took her out because they wanted to start the Disney Fairies line, and they gave her her own toy line.
Yeah.
Other former princesses included Esmeralda and Jane Porter. For a bit, Alice was associated with them. Again, no longer because of the way they finally streamlined the brand. The character should not be introduced in a sequel. Sorry, Ariel's daughter.
Yeah.
Character must be royal by birth, royal by marriage, or do a heroic deed. Which is why Mulan is considered a princess, because she has done heroic deeds. Mulan, warrior princess.
Yeah.
The character's film should not have been an overwhelming success or an underwhelming failure. Your movie has to be a hit.
But not too big of a hit. Sorry, Elsa and Anna, you got too big.
Yes.
No Disney princess for you.
This is why Elsa and Anna are not Disney princesses. They're too popular. To the point, the Frozen franchise by itself makes more money than the Disney Princess franchise does, which is why you're always seeing Frozen merchandise everywhere, even though there hasn't been a movie in a while.
Yeah.
So they're their own brand. They're too cool for the cool kids.
Yeah.
Again, this explains why certain other princesses are not part of the club. We'll get to that. And yes, the final rule, and probably the most important rule, the character must have massive appeal and recognition towards viewers and audiences. Again, your character must be popular. It really is a popularity contest.
Yeah.
Again, it's like the high school kids, really. The Disney princesses are the popular kids from high school.
Yeah. But not the too popular kids.
No, not the too popular kids.
Yeah. They're not necessarily like, the cheerleader.
Yeah.
But they're like,
they're Heathers.
The cool rich girls. Yeah.
Or, the mean girls.
Yeah, they're more mean girls. Yeah. Except not mean, because they're supposed to be sweet, because they're Disney princesses. All right. But
So let's kind of talk about the timeline where we're at with the Black Cauldron. This was the early 1980s. So Ron Miller was still the head of Disney at the time. We've talked about Ron Miller a little bit. So Ron Miller, when he took over Disney, saw the competition and felt that Disney needed to go. Basically, that they couldn't be more of the kid-friendly brand that they had been for so long, that they had to mature a bit, especially with the competition from other studios.
And you know what mature meant in the 80s? You gotta go dark.
Gotta go dark, gotta go gritty. That seems to be the thing it is right now, anyway. So, I mean, with Ron
Well,
Miller...
we're pulling out of that, and Disney's been a big part of that. I mean, Pixar has gotten some really mature films that are still kid-friendly and not like dark, gritty in tone. Some of the Marvel films, you know, they're funny and they're bright, but they're still pretty mature themes, but they still appeal to kids, you know.
Yeah. Well,
so Disney is kind of bringing us out of that tailspin we've been in for a while. Ha! Another Disney reference.
Yeah. I mean, Miller had good ideas. He created the Disney Channel, which still exists to this day. He created Touchstone Pictures, separating that from Disney and allowing their writers or creators or directors to do more mature do more mature movies. It led to the first R-rated Disney film, Down and Out in Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
Say what you will, yes, Disney did make an R-rated movie, which is why I trust them with Deadpool.
Yeah. I mean, I'm perfectly willing to let them see where they go with that.
But as the Disney brand itself, it also went a little bit darker. The Watcher in the Woods.
I cannot wait for us to get to The Watcher in the Woods.
Tron. Return to Oz.
Disney got weird in the 80s, y'all.
The Black Hole.
Yeah.
So it's like Disney under Ron Miller went dark because that was what, as we said before, there is that time where no one would be caught dead watching a Disney movie.
Yeah, that's for babies.
Yeah, Disney is for babies. But yeah, it's kind of also why Don Bluth was kind of kicking their butts at the...
Yeah, and of course, our generation was still little kids.
Yeah, we were kids. This is 1985. We were still toddlers at the time.
Yeah, and our generation is really like the first in mass to say like, no, adults can be Disney fans too, and that's not a shame thing.
Yeah.
You know, before, I'm not saying there weren't adult Disney fans, because of course there were, but they kind of kept it to themselves. They kind of did the thing of like, oh, I'm taking my niece and nephew to Disney. That's why I'm here, you know.
Yeah.
But like, you know, we all knew that adult that like they were always happy to go along on the family trips because they just really wanted to be at Disney. They didn't really care about taking the kids. They just wanted to be at Disney. And our generation finally kind of stood up and was like, wait a minute. There's nothing wrong with watching Disney movies as an adult. And so now it's not really that much of a stigma anymore, fortunately, but or else we wouldn't have this podcast. But at the time, you know, in the 80s, you know, people just a little bit older than us probably remember that about this time it was like, oh, you're still watching that. Huh. Shouldn't you grow out of that at some point?
Exactly. You know, you're too old to be watching cartoons.
Yeah. So Miller decided, well, if we're going to do cartoons, let's make cartoons that will appeal to, of course, the ultimate demographic, young teen boys. Like, you know, 12 and 13, 14-year-old boys.
Yeah, yeah. And their idea was the Black Cauldron. Miller's run, and because of all of this, a lot of people at Disney didn't like Ron Miller, especially Roy E. Disney, Walt's nephew, started the Save Disney campaign to out Ron Miller to get Disney back to its family-friendly roots, which led to the bringing in of Michael Eisner, Frank Wells, and Jeffrey Katzenberg.
I mean, history has shown in retrospect that Roy was probably right in that. I mean, I don't think you have the Disney Renaissance under Miller.
No, it also didn't hurt that under Miller's watch there was a corporate takeover of the company.
Well, yeah.
That wasn't his fault, but he was the boss at the time, so he had to take the heat for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michael Eisner, Katzenberg, and Wells together, there wouldn't have been a Disney Renaissance without those three. Love them or hate them.
Yeah, which we've talked about repeatedly before. Go back and listen to our Disney Renaissance episodes.
Yeah.
But this, I didn't know until doing research for this that this was based on a book series.
Yes.
They had optioned a book series.
Yeah, a book series from the 60s. The series, The Chronicles of Prydain. I'm hoping that's how it pronounces it in the movie. For the record, we are going by the movie pronunciations of these names. I understand these are not the proper pronunciations. We apologize.
Yeah, if any of our listeners are Welsh or know the Welsh language, that this is going to sound awful to you, but it's because we're going by the pronunciation that would be familiar to people who watch the movie.
Yeah. So, The Chronicles of Prydain, a 6-book series or 5-book series?
5 books.
5 books, okay. Imagine if they decided to make the entirety of Lord of the Rings into one movie. Imagine if they had taken...
I think they did that at one point.
They only did a book and a half. Imagine if they took Harry Potter, all 7 books, one movie. That would have been awful.
Yeah. To be perfectly fair, however, this movie is only based on like one and a tiny chunk of the first book. It's mostly based on the second book in the series, with a little bit in the intro that kind of sums up the first book. I think the first book is supposed to be like the creation of the Black Cauldron or something, and how it got buried, and they kind of do that in a very short, like 3-minute monologue at the beginning.
And the beginning with the pig. That's also from the first book, I believe. So the idea of taking these young adult novels, I guess we would call them young adult novels now, and turning them into a Disney movie is just, for that time, it was weird. I mean, again, if Disney had done Lord of the Rings in the 80s, it would have been weird.
Yeah.
So this was a big, a lot of the people in Disney wanted to make this movie, including some of the 9 old men that were still working with Disney at the time. I guess they kind of understood where Miller was going. We have to go a little bit more mature to keep the audience, which not a bad move, but it was the process they took that was a bit bad. And we'll get to it. And as they were making this movie, of course, Ron Miller is outed from Disney, and Eisner, Wells, and Katzenberg come in, and they kind of start running this show as they were running a movie studio, which was much to the chagrin of everyone who worked at Disney, because they just ran it like it was just a club of friends. And as the old adage says, you can make friends or you can make money. And Eisner, Wells, and Katzenberg were in the business of making money. Especially Katzenberg. There were, at a test screening of this film, towards the end, the scenes involving the undead army caused a lot of disturbances among the children in this test audience. So Katzenberg wanted them to edit it out. And the animator is saying, no, you cannot edit an animated movie after it's been animated. So Katzenberg says, it's a movie, you can edit it. And actually showed them on an actual film editor with this actual film. So I don't know if Katzenberg actually edited this movie himself, but that is how the story is told, that Katzenberg actually edited out the more scarier moments of this film, much to the chagrin of everyone involved, because as the Disney way, it's animated fully colored, fully animated with sound and music. It stays in the movie.
Yeah. You know, we've talked about this before, but you do the editing in the storyboards and the early animation process.
Yeah, I mean, there's rough draft animations for a lot of the older Disney films that did get cut, but that was because they were still in the rough draft animations portion of the film. They were not fully colored. They did not fully have sound. To this day, there are people who want those deleted scenes back into the movie or released in some kind of way, and they haven't. I'm starting to wonder if those scenes even exist anymore.
Well, we wondered that about other movies, and then suddenly they've been found recently in the Disney Vault. So,
case in point, Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yeah, and some of the original Star Wars cuts have they've been found in. We thought that footage was destroyed by Lucas doing the special edition, and now word is that they've found some of the masters in the Lucasfilm vault that Disney now owns. So we may get some restorations eventually because of that. Who knows? I don't know what Disney's plans are with those. But this was always kind of a weirdly cursed project, I think.
A little too dark for Disney. Little, like, there was no way to do this the Disney happy way without taking away the story, and they couldn't go full dark because then it wouldn't be Disney. So it's like, damned if you do, damned if you don't.
One of the character designers for this movie originally was Tim Burton. This was like the film he was working on when he was famously fired, I believe. But they tossed all of that out, and I'm thinking, I don't know, the Tim Burton style might have gone really well for the subject matter of this film.
Yeah.
I would like to see those, honestly. I don't know if they've ever been released anywhere, but they
even brought back, because of the style of the movie, they actually brought back a lot of the people who did work on Sleeping Beauty because they wanted that same style.
Oh, is that what they were going for? Ooh.
That's what they were going for.
Swing and a miss.
Yeah.
I think that their problem was that they didn't go whole Henwin into this. Is that the correct version of that for this film? But they didn't just devote themselves to it. And my dog agrees. But they didn't just fully go like, well, if we're going to make a dark movie, let's make a dark movie.
Yeah.
So I think they just didn't fully commit themselves to the darkness of this film. I think they could have maybe done something groundbreaking with it if they were just like Disney's first really dark animated movie.
Yeah,
but I mean, they didn't. They tried to do like a mix of kiddie and then really dark at the end, because most of the movie is like really kiddie.
Yeah.
And then at the end, it's like horror film.
Yeah, this did become Disney's first PG-rated movie, and PG-rated animated movie, for that darker scenes at the end, and which was a shock for a lot of people, like Disney going PG. Nowadays, PG is standard for any movie. You will be very hard pressed to find a G-rated movie from any studio.
Yeah.
They will.
I mean,
yeah.
Some like preschool stuff.
Yeah.
If it's aimed for 7 and below, it's kind of, you might find a G rating, but.
I mean, Frozen is rated PG.
Yeah. I don't know. Everything about this movie just seems half done to me. You said that they tried to go for the Sleeping Beauty art style, and it's kind of infamous now how I go like, oh man, this looks so beautiful on a 4K screen, and they've done such a good job. Not this movie.
No restoration at all.
This movie looks cheap.
Well, we're in the tail end of that Xerox method at this point.
Yeah, but this movie looks like a Disney ripoff.
This looks like a Don Bluth movie.
It looks... Okay, in my household, we guessed Was Don Bluth involved in this? Was Bakshi involved in this? Was the people who did the Charlotte's Web movie?
Yeah.
Because some of the animals have that same kind of animated style to, like, everything but Disney. There is nothing Disney about this movie visually.
Maybe that was part of the point. Again, like, try to step away from the Disney style to appeal to a broader audience.
But why bring in the old men?
I don't know.
I mean, are you trying to go for Sleeping Beauty, or are you trying to do not Disney? You can't do both. And I think, again, that's their problem. They tried to be both. Is it a dark film or is it a kid film? Well, let's make it both. Well, no, that doesn't work. You know?
Yeah.
This is like Fence Sitting the movie or something. It's just...
Which is kind of why it's considered a black sheep among Disney animation. It bombed. Let's just say it. This movie bombed hard. And
I'm going to say I had never seen this film before in my memory. If I did, I wiped it from my memory.
There's a reason for
fully
that.
Clean.
There's a reason for that, because Disney kind of disavowed this movie for a while. It wouldn't be until like 1997 or 1998 where this actually got a home media release.
Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing it on the shelves in the video store.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was in the Disney section of the video store, and a couple of times I remember going like, well, I might want to watch that. And then I would always like go rent like Blood Rage 17 or something instead. You know, it's like the worst movie ever over this movie, you know? And I remember doing that a lot, and I really do not think I ever saw it, because watching this, it was absolutely a clean slate in my mind. I had no idea. And watching it, you can see how this almost killed Disney.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're gonna have to apologize to our dear friend Insane Ian. I don't know if he asked us to do this film because this was like his favorite film growing up or something, but I do not agree, my friend. I'm sorry. I'm very, very apologetic. If that's the reason why you asked us to do this.
Even then, even if this movie had been good, take a look at the other movies that were out the same month this came out. Pee-wee's Big Adventure, National Lampoon's European Vacation, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, Back to the Future.
Yeah, if you want that like 13-year-old boy demographic, any of those massively beats. Hey, you want to go see Black Cauldron? Like, no.
Do you want to go see the
Pee-wee's
Disney
Big
movie?
Adventure?
Yeah.
Do
you want to go see Back to the Future? Do you want to see the movie set in Renaissance times, or do you want to see the time travel movie set in the 50s?
Yeah.
or the dystopian future with Mel Gibson?
Also, Pee-wee's Big Adventure was like the movie Tim Burton left Disney to go work on.
Yes.
Which just proves right there what a mistake Disney made. Like, maybe if Black Cauldron had been the Tim Burton vehicle, it might have done better. I don't know. There's so many ifs with this movie.
There's so many what ifs there. And this was also 1 month after Return to Oz came out. So that double Disney dark movie, it just showed that the audience was not there for it.
Yeah. And as much as I remember watching Return to Oz as a kid,
mm-hmm.
I never remember the Black Cauldron being on. The fact that they would play absolute nightmare fuel like Return to Oz is better remembered and better beloved by our generation than the Black Cauldron. Kind of says a lot.
It says a lot. So let's kind of stop pussyfooting around and just actually get into this. Let's get into our cast.
As Taryn, we have Grant Bardsley, actor who stopped acting in 1989, has not done a thing since. I can't really find pictures of him. He has no Wikipedia page. His IMDb is very sparse. It seems that he was a child actor. This was his most famous role. He did a decently well-known Wuthering Heights adaptation in England, I believe. And that's it, really. I mean, this is it. And I don't know what he went on to do with the rest of his life, but I hope it went well for him, because the internet is telling me nothing. As Princess Eilonwy, we've got Susan Sheridan. If you listened to the BBC Radio Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, you will remember her as Trillian. And if you ever saw the English version of Muzzy in Gondoland, which was a TV series put out by BBC that was, it was to teach English to children who needed English as a second language. So it was a language learning program, and then they eventually dubbed it into different languages to help children learn languages. And when we were kids, the commercial for Muzzy was on all the time.
Bonjour, je suis le grand Muzzy.
Je suis la jeune fille.
Yes, that's French they're speaking, and no, these children aren't French, they're American. And they've acquired their amazing new language skills from Muzzy, the remarkable new video language program for children developed by the British Broadcasting Corporation. With this unique BBC language course, children learn a second language with incredible ease.
That was literally the first thing I learned in French, because all I ever heard when I got into French class in high school, it was that and anything that got said in Beauty and the Beast. That was the extent of my French. But yeah, she was Princess Sylvia in the original Muzzy. That kind of her two biggest roles that we would really know, people of our generation and our listeners probably would know. So as Dalbin, we have Freddie Jones, who was a English actor. He was on an English soap called Emmerdale for a long time, up until 2018, and he died the next year. So he worked pretty consistently, almost until the point of his death. But he's probably a little bit more connected to Disney, because he is the father of Toby Jones, the actor, who you may know as Arnim Zola in Captain America Winter Soldier, the whole Marvel series there. But he's also been in lots of films. He played Truman Capote in a really good film called Infamous. He was in Frost Nixon and, some of the other stuff. But as far as Disney connection, he's a part of the Marvel universe.
Haven't seen his role.
Yep. So interestingly, this is one of the ones that kind of shocked me going through the cast. We have Nigel Hawthorne as Fluter Flam. He is best known, if you watch a lot of British television, he is the lead in Yes Minister and the sequel series Yes Prime Minister. In film, he was nominated for an Oscar for his leading role in The Madness of King George, which is a great film, by the way, if you've never seen it.
That's the other side of Hamilton.
Yeah, it's literally the other half of Hamilton. Yeah, no rapping, sadly, but Lin-Manuel, get on that. Do The Madness of King George as a rap musical. I want to see it. I want to see it now. All right. Moving along, we have John Byner as Gurgi and Dolly. John Byner was a really well-known impressionist during kind of the 60s through the 80s and stuff. So he would go on Ed Sullivan a lot. He would show up on Carol Burnett's show, all these kind of skit shows. He would guest star on a lot of comedies of the time. And if you needed a guy to, impersonate the current president or a famous celebrity you couldn't get, you would call John Viner. So there you go. That was kind of his shtick at the time, but he also did a lot of voice acting. Phil Fondacaro, we've seen him before. He played Creeper. He's the voice of Creeper, the little demon that is the minion for the Horn King. You would know him because he was in Willow. We talked about him in Willow. He is a dwarf actor, a little person. He also played one of the kind of background Ewoks and everything. So you've seen him around. He was Cousin It in Addams Family Reunion, and just cool little career there. We have as the Horn King the great John Hurt.
Sir John Hurt.
Sir John Hurt, yeah. 1984. Elephant Man.
Doctor Who.
Doctor Who, of course. He's the war doctor in Doctor Who. If Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Somebody told me he once showed up in an Indiana Jones movie, but I don't remember it. They described it. It had something to do with skulls. Didn't sound familiar to me at all. He showed up in V for Vendetta again. Hellboy. So much. John Hurt. Come on. And interestingly, he was, of course, also in the animated Lord of the Rings that we keep comparing this movie to. So we've got a few of these people. This was kind of their biggest role, and there's not a lot on them on the internet. But one of the three witches, Orgok the Witch, was Billy Hayes, who some of you might best know as Witchy Poo from HR Pufnstuf.
HR Pufnstuf.
So yeah, there you go. Witchy Poo is one of the three witches in this one.
Typecasting.
Yeah, typecasting. We have a couple of people who we've talked about before that come back as, some of the henchmen and various voices. We've got Wayne Allwine, of course, who did the voice of Mickey Mouse for a long time. And we've got Jim Cummings, Darkwing Duck, and Tigger, Winnie the Pooh. Yeah. And, of course, all of the animal sounds are done by Frank Welker. The great Frank Welker. Yeah.
Penguin the Pig, mostly, is his big role in this movie.
Yeah, but all the cats and the dogs and the frogs and the dragons and all of the animals is Frank Welker. And as our narrator, we have the amazing John Huston, better known as a director, of course, the father of Angelica Houston, as well. But Maltese Falcon, African Queen, Treasure of the Sierra Madre. He's a great director. Go look him up. If you don't automatically know the name, his movies are legendary. You'll learn a lot.
Although John Huston sounds a lot like Leonard Nimoy in this movie.
In this movie, he does have a bit of a Nimoy thing to him. But
when I was watching it, is that Leonard Nimoy doing the narrator voice?
There's also another thing about a voice in this movie that the internet immediately latched onto and was like, wait a minute. And that is the question, which, as far as I can tell, has never been officially answered. Did Andy Serkis get the Gollum voice from Gurgi?
Ooh.
Because if you shut your eyes and just listen, Gurgi sounds suspiciously like Gollum.
Oh, Master! Now Gurgi remembers. Yes. Clever, sharp-eyed Gurgi saw the piggy run. Yes, right through the forest. I saw it. Come! Gurgi will find the lost piggy. Then we'll be friends forever.
Reese.
serve the master of the precious. We will swear on the precious.
And of course, Gurgi came first, so we're not saying that Black Cauldron ripped anybody off.
I
but
mean,
did
what
Andy
year?
Serkis
What?
see this film?
Yeah.
Have this voice in his brain and use it? Because Gurgi and Gollum are very similar characters in the role they play in the film.
Yes. Only Gurgi has a more prominent face turn, and then, we all know what happened to Gollum.
Yeah, I mean, Gollum goes down a villain and a sad, tragic character. Gurgi does get some redemption. But it is shockingly similar. And I actually did look it up. I looked up some video of Andy Serkis talking and some other things. A lot of people say, oh, he absolutely. Of course, that's where he got it from. They're too similar to be. But as far as I can tell, Andy Serkis himself, nor Peter Jackson, nor anybody else who would know on the production of The Lord of the Rings, has ever said officially that Gurgi was, but it's the same voice, y'all.
Which is really weird because not too long ago, I actually saw the animated Hobbit, which actually had the original Gollum on there. And it's also a very similar voice. So I guess that's just Gollum's voice.
It must have a competition with us. If Precious asks and it doesn't answer, we eat it, my precious.
Don't hurt us. Don't let them hurt us, Precious. Cruel little hobbitses. Jumps on us like cats on poor mices. Go. We'll be nice to them if they'll be nice to us. Won't we, Precious?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's been... If I've ever seen the 1978 Lord of the Rings, it has been when I was a very small child, and I do not really remember much of it. So, I don't really remember what voice they used then. But, yeah, put in like 2 seconds of Gurgi versus Gollum here, and you'll hear it.
Yeah, definitely.
But so yeah, that's the big question about the voice. But other than that, pretty good voice cast. The ones that are remembered. It's very odd that so much of this voice cast just are lost to the internet.
Yeah.
I mean, do you know how hard it is to not find something on the internet? Come on.
It says a lot when you don't have a Wikipedia page.
Yeah. Strangely, I am mentioned on Wikipedia pages. At least 2, I think, at last I checked. I don't have my own, but I'm mentioned.
It's 2 more than I mentioned on.
Yeah, so it's like, I'm nobody, and somehow I'm on Wikipedia to some extent. So I don't know. Grant Bardsley, I'll give it to him. He was a child, and apparently acting just was not what he wanted to do with the rest of his life. Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Good for you. Go do what you want to do, man. But yeah, it seems weird for the adult actors, because he was the only child actor on this one. Everybody else, including, I think Susan Sheridan was like in her 40s when she did Princess Eilonwy. So, do we want to get into the plot of this? I really don't want to get into the plot of this.
Yeah, we kind of have to. It's kind of the point of this episode. So we have Taran, the assistant pig keeper, pig boy. He is the assistant pig keeper for Dalbin.
Dalbin, yeah.
Yeah, sorry again.
Dalbin the Enchanter.
Yeah, so he dreams of being a great warrior. He tends to daydream a lot, which gets him in trouble. Although, yeah, I mean, he's a daydreamer. He gets in trouble with his little daydreams, and his job is to take care of Henwin the pig. And then Henwin... Yeah,
they call him a pig keeper, but it's really just Henwin.
Yeah.
There's not like a whole group of pigs. It's like they have one pig. You are the keeper of one pig. And
Taran is kind of jealous of Henwin because Henwin is treated so well and he doesn't know why. Henwin starts losing her mind while taking a bath, and Taryn wants to find out what's wrong with Henwin, and turns out Henwin can see the future. Henwin has superpowers to see the future.
Oracle Pig. Okay.
Oracle Pig. Yes.
Here's the thing. Like I said, as far as I know, this was my first time watching this movie, and as I was sitting there watching it, the Dolben is like, "Take care of her. She's a special pig," and I was like, "That's gonna be the princess, isn't it? It's gonna be like."
The pig
this
turned into a
pig
princess.
was like the prince, because I knew there was a princess in this movie, and there wasn't like a princess, in the first third of this movie. So I was like, that pig is gonna be the princess in disguise, isn't it? But it turns out, no, it's just a pig who can see the future. Why? Who cares? No.
Yeah.
This movie doesn't care. Shut up. Stop asking questions.
Yeah, Dolben says the magic spell and into the pool of water, and Henwin shows this vision of the Horn King going after the Black Cauldron, this mysterious thing that can bring the dead back to life. And apparently the Horn King is aware that Henwin can see the future and is going after her. Which, so now Taryn has to keep this pig safe by going as far away as possible to make sure the Horn King doesn't get the pig.
Not as far away as possible. To the edge of the Forbidden Forest.
Yeah.
Seriously, they literally say to the edge of the Forbidden Forest. What?
That's as generic.
I hope the books are better than that. I really do. I really hope the books are better than that.
That's some D&D stuff right there.
Yeah, that is your DM did not come up with a plot line until an hour before game starts.
Yeah. So we get to the Horn. We kind of switch over to the Horn King with his dead soldiers. I will bring you back, my friends. You will be Cauldron born. We get This is Skeletor. This is freaking Skeletor.
No, Skeletor is fun. This guy is boring. Oh my goodness, Skeletor is great. Skeletor is like, I don't want to feel good. I want to feel evil. Like that. Skeletor is awesome. This guy is boring. This guy could not hold Skeletor's helmet, cape, something. I don't know. Something Skeletor wears.
Yeah. So they kind of go on their little quest. And of course, Taryn has this little daydream of becoming a great warrior, that once he does this great deed, he will be knighted as a great warrior. And because he's daydreaming, the pig runs off.
And gets taken by dragons.
Yeah, he gets kidnapped by dragons. And we get Gurgi!
Gurgi, the comic relief?
Yeah, this little dog creature. Gurgi. We don't know what he is. I don't think they ever explained what he is.
It's furry Gollum. That's all this is. If you've never seen this movie, furry Gollum shows up and is a nuisance. There you go. You know Gurgi now.
Yeah, he steals some apples, but he wants to be friends with Taryn. He calls him Master. He's like, I'm going to help you. Gurgi helps you. Gurgi will help you find your pig. It's weird because Gurgi at some point looks cowardly, like he's almost like he's lying about something, but wants to generally be friends with Taryn, and Taryn really doesn't want anything to do with him.
Well, because the first thing Gurgi does is steal his only food.
Yeah, true.
I mean, he has this entire thing. He's got to schlep all the way to the edge of the Forbidden Forest, and the ridiculous old wizard dude gives him a single apple and the heel part of a loaf of bread, which everybody knows is the worst part of the loaf of bread. Here, take my pig a journey of miles. I give you a single apple and literally a crust of bread.
But does it even tell him what to do when you get there?
Supposedly there's a cabin that he's going to, but does he know where it is? I mean, if I was just like, go to the cabin in that forest over there, you'd be like, is there a trail? Where? I don't... okay.
It feels like we're getting details of the book cut off here.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering if the end was not the only thing But remember also in the 80s, nobody asked questions about
the details.
Cartoons.
Yeah.
Like, you don't question cartoons.
Yeah. So because of all of this, the pig gets kidnapped by the dragons, going to the Horn King, which leads Terran to go to the Horn King's castle, following the dragons.
And Gurgi comes along because Gurgi.
Yeah, he wants to help him, but then it's like, we're gonna go to the Horn King's castle and get my pig back. You're crazy, dude. You're not my friend.
Yeah.
That's pretty much where it is. Like, Gurgi's telling him, you're crazy. If you go in there, you are going to die. What kind of friend says that? Here's your apple. Leave me alone.
Yeah. But Gurgi's the only one in this story with, like, almost any sense. Seriously.
Yeah.
Like, the Gollum character is the smartest creature in this entire film.
That says a lot about this movie.
Yeah. Also, I'm just gonna say it now. Terran, worst main character in a Disney film since Peter Pan. He does not quite meet the level of Coitus Guy. We're not there yet. He's not actively awful. He is just absolutely useless, completely uninteresting, and supremely annoying.
There's a bit of naivety in here, but it's not cute naivete.
Yeah, it is not interesting or relatable naivete from where I'm sitting. I don't know. Somebody else might have different opinions. That's fine, as always. But for me, there is nothing I really... I mean, I'm a daydreamer, but I've never let my pig run off and get eaten by dragons because I was daydreaming, you know? It's like...
Yeah.
I don't know.
So Terran, he sees the thugs or whatever of the Horn King's army, and then we get a panty shot of a dancing girl What is with Disney and this type, I don't even want to say it.
Yeah.
Romani, you know, what is with Disney and using Romani culture?
I don't know, but they did it a lot and not very well. Although it would be very interesting now that they're trying to do, like, you know, films like Moana where they're actually like, we're going to talk about a different culture and we're going to go research that culture and get people in that culture to do voices and stuff. Maybe this is time for a film about actual Romani people with actual Romani people in the cast and the crew.
If they ever do that live action Hunchback of Notre Dame movie.
I mean, not even that. I just want to see a film about a group of traveling Romani people or a Romani village somewhere, or, you know, anything about the Romani diaspora. I don't know. It's a very interesting culture and very interesting people. Lot of history there. Yeah.
Did we need the panty shot though?
Movie.
Like, did we need the panty shot?
We never do. We never do. In anything ever. Stop. Yeah.
So yeah, here we got the Horn King. Everyone is scared of the Horn King. He wants the pig.
I don't know why. The Horn King never does anything. He never seems menacing at all, except that he's tall and he wears a helmet with horns on it.
Yeah. So
I mean, he's got the voice of John Hurt, which does go a long way. Let's not undersell that.
Yeah.
But other than impressive voice, you don't really get why he's
evil.
Yeah.
Why is he such a
presence? Or
why is he feared?
Yeah, why he's feared. I mean, you can kind of get why he's evil. He wants to bring the dead back to life and use them to murder the world. Okay, that's pretty evil. But why his people fear him? We don't really see him do anything. We know his minion is scared of him, and his minion does things like, no, I'll do it myself, and then he chokes himself. So you kind of get the idea that he's done that before, but we never actually see him do anything. He sits in the chair, and then towards the end of the movie, he gets out of the chair to lead the army, and, you know, it's like... We don't see.
Why is
fight.
Dalvin
We
afraid
don't
of him?
See, yeah.
Why is Dalvin
Well,
afraid
that's
of him?
in the first book that we didn't get to see.
Yeah.
That's...
Someone is going to be commenting, well, that was in this book that tells us this. Like, we don't get that. They skipped over that part.
Yeah, it is not in the movie. We're simply talking about what's in the movie.
Yeah, so they're going to try to kill this pig because they don't know how to make the magic work, which forces Terran to kind of reveal himself. And, well, if you don't make the pig tell the future, we're going to kill the pig. So, to save the pig's life, he gives up the secret of future sight because he saw his master do it once.
Yeah. I mean, good for Terran. He learns magic really quick.
So, yeah, he seems to be a quick learner of things, as we see in the movie, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But, he's he has one job to protect the pig, which he's failed immediately.
Yeah.
And so
don't give up. Don't let them use the magic of the pig, which he also does not live up to. Yeah, I mean, total failure there. But the one thing he doesn't fail at is he's able to grab the pig and sort of escape. At least he gets Henwin out of the castle.
What is in that water that hurt the Horn King so much? Because it was just a pool of water that they see the vision in, and then he kicks it right into the Horn King's face, and we see smoke.
It was wine. It wasn't water. It was wine.
But why would it burn him?
Have you ever gotten alcohol in a cut?
It stings. It doesn't. You don't see
well,
smoke.
Yeah, but
you don't see smoke coming out of it.
In your eyes, you're gonna be blinded for at least a couple of seconds. It's at least gonna smart.
Anyway, we get Terran is able to make the pig escape, but he's captured himself. But because they let the pig get away, the kid is useless, so they lock him in the dungeon.
Yeah.
And
also in the dungeon for absolutely no reason at all, there's your princess.
Yeah.
With a magic ball fairy thing.
It's implied that she says magic, so it's assumed.
She calls it a bauble.
She says it's magic too, so she even says that it's hers and that the Horn King kidnapped her because they think that she and the bauble could tell her where the cauldron is. So she has some magical ability, I assume. I know I've read that in the book her magical ability is expanded upon, but it's not really expanded upon in here.
Long line of royal enchantress queens and stuff, but it is not in this movie. She has a little floating light that she talks to. Neither of them do anything of any real use past this jailbreak scene.
Yeah. And again, Eilonwy doesn't really do much, which kind of explains why she's not part of the Disney princess line.
Well, I mean, neither does Snow White, but,
Yeah.
Anyway,
in
the movie, we never know what she's a princess of. Why is she in this dungeon, really, except for the vague, he thought my bauble could tell him, okay, but how did he know about your bauble? Where are you from? Are you from this kingdom? Are you from another kingdom? Did he murder your parents? Why are you here, child?
Yeah, why is she there, other than that? Anyway, they make the jailbreak. They find our minstrel, Dalvin.
Well, no, before that, they find the sword, which is in the ancient burial crypt of some previous king that owned this castle. And Terran's just like, oh, grave robbing. That's not against my morals in the slightest.
Well, he's not going to use it. That's his explanation. He's not going to use it.
I could sort of see if, somebody was coming for them in the crypt and he had to grab the nearest thing and fight. But it's just as far as he knows, they're just going to go down this tunnel until they find a way out. But he sees a sword and is like, I want to be a warrior, and this is a dead guy, and I see no problem with taking the possessions from a corpse.
Yeah.
This is why I said worst character since Peter Pan.
And we get Dalvin, the minstrel, who has a magic harp that breaks when he lies.
Fluter.
Yes.
Fluter the minstrel. By the way, that is not even close to. I'm not great at Welsh myself, but that even I know that's not really how you pronounce that. Anyway, but yeah, Fluter's just here for reasons. What are those reasons? Stop asking questions. We've told you. Stop asking questions.
Yeah, Fluter. He's the minstrel. He apparently goes around the world and plays for the finest kings, but apparently his harp just says, nah, he's a liar. It breaks. Which, yeah, Pinocchio, you can kind of see it there.
Yeah. I think I read that in the books he's actually like a king, but he didn't want to be a king, so he ran off and became a bard instead, which, okay.
Sure.
But it never comes up. He's just a doddering old bard that nobody.
And not even the fun kind of bard.
Yeah, we're not talking about, The Witcher here. Like, this is not like he's a really good traveling companion.
And not even the D&D kind of bard that will sleep with everybody.
People say that. I play almost exclusively bards. I have never played that kind of bard.
It's a trope, but
I really don't know why that's a trope. Bards are the best class in D&D if you know how to play them. So they
continue yeah.
The three of them manage to escape from the castle because it turns out that the sword is magic and it shoots lightning and fire and stuff and breaks weapons when it comes into contact with them and can cut through the chain holding up the drawbridge with one stroke.
And of course, there's straight up alcohol abuse as he uses the sword to break open all of the wine barrels.
I don't know what this kid has against wine. Stop it. You're awful. I don't like you. Anyway, they escape.
They escape.
And the Horn King sends his little demon minion and his dragons out to find them. They find pig tracks.
Yep.
And somehow the pig has made it to a group of fairies underground who are protecting the pig.
And Gurgi comes back into the picture.
Yeah, and Gurgi also shows up and is like, they lose the tracks for a little while, and then Gurgi shows up and is like, oh, I know where the tracks are, follow me. And
they see these little fairies who, like, oh dear, humans are in our lair, humans aren't supposed to be here. We better get out of here before our king discovers that there are humans in our lair. Because I'm not going to tell him. Oh, I'm not going to tell him.
Yeah.
So they see the fair. Yeah.
Yeah, but the king of the fairies shows up and is like, "Why are you here?" And they're like, "We're looking for the Black Cauldron." And he's like, "Okay, Dolly, this fairy named Dolly, is gonna lead you to the marshes of Morva."
Yes, because apparently the king of the fairies had the Black Cauldron and hid it there, but he forgot where it was.
Also, they take Henwin back home. They're like, "Oh, we'll just take her back home. You continue the quest. The pig is no longer in this movie."
And the pig is no longer relevant.
Bye, Henwin.
Yeah. Probably one of the best characters in this movie, and we're just going to erase her from
Henwin is by far the best character in this entire film.
So they go to this place, and they meet the three witches.
This has one of my favorite scenes in the movie because they get into the marshes and Eilonwy says something about like, "Oh, it's so dreary here," and Taryn's like, "Well, let's see what it looks like from over this ridge," and he like crests the ridge and you get a much wider shot, and all I could think of watching the movie was, nope, just more dreary.
Yeah.
Because it's just like never ending gray. But I love Taryn. It's like, well, it's been gray for the last 3 hours, but on top of this hill, more gray. Okay.
Yeah. So
but yeah, there are 3 witches there because there's always 3 witches.
One of them seems to have a thing for Fluter here.
Yeah, Orwin, the buxom one, who immediately shoves Fluter right into her buxom.
She's
face first.
She's the thirst is real.
Yeah,
Orwin
and she's
here.
immediately like, who can perform marriages? I found my man.
This is probably the first man she's seen in who knows how long.
Yeah.
And it's this old guy.
Well, she seems to be approximately the same age visually, so.
You know what? Whatever floats your boat. Plus, he's a musician. Maybe she's into music.
Yeah, I mean, that's valid. But anyway, they're like, hey, witches, oh yeah, the witches try to turn them into frogs to eat them. And the interesting thing is that one of them comes over to Taryn and starts like plucking at his skin. She's like, ooh, plump. And I'm like, well, he won't be once you turn him into a frog.
Yeah, it's implied that there have been other warriors or travelers who've searched them and they also got turned into frogs and eaten.
Well, yeah, we do see that because when they first like break into the home of the witches, there's like 300 frogs that escape through the open door.
Sadly, I don't think they're going to turn back to humans anytime soon.
Yeah. Good luck being frogs. At least you're in marshland. It's pretty good for frogs.
Well, maybe if they find a princess to kiss them, the spell will be broken.
That's
a different movie. That's a different movie.
But they are like, hey, please don't turn us into frogs. We're just here looking for the Black Cauldron. And the witches are like, oh yeah, sure. What do you give us?
Yeah, we don't give anything away for free. We bargain.
Yeah. So Taryn's like, well, I got this magical sword I cribbed from a dead guy. So and they're like, okay, yeah, that works. Here's the cauldron.
I mean, honestly, anything worth doing isn't worth doing for free. So the witches at least have that mindset. They're like, we'll help you, but it ain't gonna be for free. So they take the sword, they give him the cauldron.
And he's like, all right, the cauldron, let's break it. And they're like, oh yeah, we forgot to tell you, you can't break it. The only way to destroy it is to take away its evil power, and you can only do that by jumping in the cauldron yourself willingly, and that will kill you, but it will take away its magic.
Yes, a living creature must go into the cauldron to erase its power.
A willing sacrifice. You can't just like chuck somebody into it.
The thing is, the point of the cauldron is it brings back the dead. So it makes sense that a living person, a living being, will be the key to destroying it. Sure, why not?
Yeah, if you say so. Makes as much sense as anything else in this movie. Probably better explained in the book. I'm gonna give the book that much credit. I've never read it, but it's got to be better than this.
But they have the cauldron, and there's a later on there's a bit of a moment between Taryn and Eilonwy that they kind of imply that there's a thing going on there because Taryn has a bit of a confidence issue. And
I screw everything up, and the audience is like, yes, you do. Thanks for noticing. We've been on that train this whole film.
But Eilonwy says, hey, you gotta believe in yourself. You gotta pick yourself up. I believe in you.
Shut up, Eilonwy. He's awful.
Let her have her crush.
No, he's awful. You deserve better, Eilonwy. You're also not that great, but you're better than Taryn.
And Fluter is just watching this like he's watching a soap opera, like kiss.
Which, when you're an old man, maybe don't do that with preteen children. But
yeah.
Anyway,
Horn King's goons catch up to them, get the cauldron. Everyone's captured.
And back to the dungeon again.
Yeah, they're back in the dungeon that they just escaped from half an hour ago.
But at least the pig is safe.
Yeah, so Horn King puts his soldier in there, rise again. We get blood. The cauldron is bleeding, which is, again, this is supposed to be a Disney movie.
Well, we also get, and it's important to note this, we also get one of the first uses of any computer animation in a Disney film.
Yeah, a lot of people would say
the green mist caused by the cauldron is computer animated, as is some of the effects on the ball of light thing that follows Eilonwy around.
This is this is the first movie to have computer animation. I kind of skipped over it. I completely forgot about it right now. This is also the first Disney movie to have the Blue Castle intro.
Oh yeah.
The famous blue intro with the castle. This is the first movie to have that.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, first use of computer animation. We see the undead army rise, which is nightmare fuel.
If you're a tiny child, if you're an adult, this is really boring and not the best of animation. But I can see if I had watched this at, age 6, this might have been the subject of a few of my nightmares.
And not only that, is that apparently when the undead army touch a living being, they also become members of the undead army.
I mean, it's a useful spell.
Yeah. I can see where they cut some stuff. It's probably like the transformation of the living into the dead.
Yeah.
So they need to stop the undead army. So in order to do that, you need a living being to jump into the cauldron, and Taran is going to do it himself because...
Well, first of all, how does Taran escape? He escapes because Gurgi comes back. Gurgi sneaks into the castle, and he unties Taran, and Taran immediately is like, well, time to jump into the cauldron. And
then
Gurgi's like, no, master. Taran no jump into the cauldron. Taran, Gurgi's friend.
It comes to the point of, you have friends, Gurgi has no friends. And then that is probably the closest to any kind of emotional point in this movie. Because Gurgi sees that, Taran and Eilonwy kind of have a thing going on. There's also Fluter, and their 3 are friends, and Gurgi feels like he's the odd one out, that he doesn't have a friend in the world, and Taran got mad at him earlier, and well, there's no one to miss Gurgi when he's gone, so he's just going to jump into the cauldron. He sacrifices himself, little Gurgi.
Goodbye, cruel world. But
from Gurgi's perspective,
it works.
It works because he sacrifices himself. He's a living being. He jumps in the cauldron. The spell is broken, and the undead army is dead again.
And all of the magic that it put out into the world, it starts sucking back in, creating a vortex.
Yeah, and apparently to stop the vortex, there's another sacrifice needs to be made to get everything back. The beauty of Creeper trying to, maybe they're just resting, master. Wake up, wake up. Again,
yeah, I like the Horn King just grabbing a skeleton and being like, get up, walk around. It just falls to pieces.
Do something.
Yeah.
So he's going to throw a Creeper into the Black Cauldron to reverse the reversal. I don't know if that works or not. But at the end, the cauldron sucks in the Horn King in a very... If this was not edited in such a way, it would have been a much creepier mood there, because you do see the Horn King's skin getting ripped off. You see his skeleton.
Yeah, it's a very the melting face at the end of Indiana Jones kind of thing.
You can't have me. You can't. Yeah, that's not gonna work. And apparently that's it. The cauldron is magicless.
But it decides to take down the entire castle with it. So now we have to run.
Yeah, because Creeper seems to enjoy the fact that he's now free of the Horn King's influence. Yeah, He's gone, he's gone. He starts putting horns in his head and dancing around. He's gone. I'm free. But yeah, the entire castle is breaking apart, and our trio needs to get out of there. And going on what, if this movie was more successful, probably would have been a ride at Disneyland.
Yeah.
With the boat, because Disneyland loves their boat rides.
I mean, fair. Who doesn't love a boat ride? Come on. Boat rides are awesome.
I don't think these trio are going to go on Small World.
No.
Anyway, the castle collapses. They make it out alive. Creature ends up flying on the dragon, free. But, and the cauldron is still there. Again, the cauldron cannot be destroyed. They made that they made it.
But it's now apparently useless. Like, all the magic has been broken.
There's no magic in it. It's useless. They have no use for it. Re-enter the three witches. Well,
we'll take back the useless cauldron now. Goodbye.
No. What did you say earlier? We don't give things away for free. We bargain. Oh yeah, you can have your sword back. We'll take the cauldron. We'll give you back your sword.
Taran does the first good thing he does all movie.
Yeah, I'm not the hero. I'm just the pig boy. Gurgi's the real hero. I want my friend back.
And I'm like, yay, Taran, you've gotten the point of this movie. You're not a hero. Gurgi's the hero. Go home, pig boy.
And the witches say that that's not possible because he's dead. You can't come back from the dead.
And Fluter's like, oh, excuse me? I thought you said you were powerful, but, if you're just punks, then that's fine. You're a bunch of little basic witches. All right.
Basic witch. Yeah, what kind of powerful witch can't even bring someone back from the dead?
I mean, it's just a little dog thing. It's not like we're talking about, like, royalty, Can't bring a little dog thing.
Yeah, fine. The deal is made. The bargain has been made. We'll take the cauldron. Here's your dog thing. And at first, it looks like it's just a dead body. Like, we never said we bring him. We never said we bring him back to life. We said we give him back to you.
Yeah.
But because this is a Disney movie, he's okay. All of the sacrifice, doesn't matter because he's alive again, and Gurgi's alive, and everyone's happy, and even Taran's happy because he's kind of got his little friend back.
And then Gurgi just grabs Taran's head and Eilonwy's head and is like, kiss!
To be fair, like I said, Fluter was thinking the same thing. He's thinking, kiss.
And they almost kissed in the dungeon when they thought they were about to die.
True. I mean, can you imagine if a friend of yours did that with a guy that you liked? Even if you did have a affection for him, he just kiss.
Yeah. No. Don't ever do that to anybody.
I mean, the two seem to be into it, but yeah, that's kind of a jerk move, Gurgi. Consent,
Gurgi. Anyway,
yeah, now they're gonna go home.
The four of them are like, yay, we're gonna go home. And so they turn back to go home.
Yeah, which home? Are they going to Eilonwy's home? Or
home?
Yeah, I assume Taran's home.
Yeah. But we do see that Dalbin and Dolly have been watching them through Henwin's visions in the water.
And the Fairy King's there too,
they're
for some
like,
reason.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, yay. They're good for Taran. He's a true hero. And I'm like, really? Really? Is he, though? Is he?
I think it's come from the point of his act. For the whole movie, he's kind of been acting selfishly to his dream of being a hero and a great warrior. And when given the opportunity, he says, no, I'm going to not be selfish and get my sword back that I already stole. I just want my friend back.
But it's like, you can get another sword. It won't be magical, but, if you're any good with it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And that's the Black Cauldron. Granted, we kind of speed through this movie because, yeah, this is not...
Nobody wants to dwell on this film.
This is not Disney's best. There's a reason this is kind of the black sheep of Disney animation.
The things we do for you people.
This
This is a slog, you guys.
Yeah. This feels this does feel like this could have been more than one movie. Like I said, taking the story of the Lord of the Rings and putting it to one movie is a bad idea. Taking all the Harry Potter movies into one film, bad idea. Taking these first two of the Black Cauldron books into one film, bad idea.
But there's something we said at the end of the Wassels, and I'm gonna say it here. The time has come for this to be a TV show.
There have been talks. Disney has reacquired the rights to the books as of 2016.
Because what's super popular right now? Dark, gritty fantasy based on young adult novels.
I see it as... Because we have Amazon, they're working on their Lord of the Rings series, right?
Yeah.
And at the time that Disney reacquired the rights, 2016, the hot show was Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I see if Disney could take all the books and make a good 5-season series out of this, you got something here. Unfortunately, I think with them going ahead with the Willow series, that might put this on the back burner.
Well, I'm not saying it couldn't happen. I know that the books have a following.
Mm-hmm.
There are fans of the books who would like to see it done more faithfully.
Mm-hmm.
From the little bits and pieces that I've read about the story and doing research for this, I don't think it sounds like a bad series. It sounds like something I probably should have read when I was, 12. But I just never came across it. I guess it wasn't in my school library when I was reading my way through it. But I don't know. I think this could make a good series from what I've read of the books.
I agree. There's something here. There's a good story here. Given a chance to expand and actually take the time to tell the story correctly, you have something. There was talk of turning the films into a live-action series, like a live-action film series at one point. Again, this was during the heyday of the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit movies. Disney does have the rights to the books. It's just a matter of time of them actually doing something with them. And as I said, I think the Willow series is going to take prominence over this, but we'll see where that's going to go.
Well, Willow is better beloved as a film than Black Cauldron. If you gotta, as far as a film, the books are probably better remembered. But
if Disney had not bought Lucasfilm, I could see them going full into the Black Cauldron for their medieval series instead of Willow.
Yeah. Watching this movie is like somebody who was half asleep during a marathon of Lord of the Rings trying to tell you what the movie's about.
Yeah.
It's really like, I don't know, there's some short people and there's a ring and everybody wants the ring because the ring is like magic and it does some stuff, and then they end up at a volcano and they drop the ring in and everybody's happy again. Like, that's this movie. It's trying to tell the story of the books, but it only has the most cursory understanding of the books, I think.
To be fair, that is a lot of Disney adaptations, even to this day, where they will break it down to the base elements, the minimum of the story that they can keep and build a new story around it. Unfortunately, it kind of fails in this mark. A lot of it because of so much detail that they needed to put in here, and the amount of characters this movie has.
But also, I will give it one thing. There's enough story here that I desperately kind of do want to know more. You know, if I'd have seen this as a child and knew it was based on a book series, I might have gone and looked up the book series to see, like, answer some of my questions. Because I kind of want to know, like, who is the Horned King? Why did he start a war? Why is everybody scared of him? Why has he decided bringing back the dead is his thing? Who is this princess chick? What kingdom does she come from? Why does she have a magical glowy light that follows around? You know, it's how did the pig get superpowers? Like, there's all these questions I have, and the movie is completely uninterested. Like, this movie has dragons in it, y'all. There are dragons in this movie, and they are not even really referenced. They are less interesting than the flying monkeys in Wizard of Oz. They have less screen time than the flying monkeys. They're literally just, go fetch me that thing, dragon. Like, I want to know more about the dragons, you know? Like, come on.
There's so much here that...
What is a Gurgi?
Yeah, what is a Gurgi?
Yeah. Are there more Gurgi? Is there a village of Gurgi? Like,
I wouldn't mind a village of Gurgi.
Yeah, what? Tell me more about this, but do it in a better thing than this film.
Give me a Gurgi spinoff.
No. I don't mind Gurgi being a part of this movie, but I would not watch a Gurgi spinoff. There is only so much Gurgi I can deal with in a day.
So yeah, I mean, like I said, if Disney wanted to redo this as a series, I'm all for it. Disney Plus original series based off the Black Cauldron, the entire Chronicles of Pinwin, or go for it.
Yeah,
I want to see the series. I want to see everything that this world has to offer. There's so much in this world that is hinted at, but we never see.
You know, when I was watching this film, I thought, okay, it's fantasy Wales in the vague Middle Ages with magic and dragons. This movie should be my everything.
Yeah.
This is a perfect Venn intersection of all of my things. It's got a bard in it. Come on, you know? But nothing about it works. This should be like my favorite Disney film of all time, given the base elements that went into it. And nothing about this works. It is a slog.
I think it has a combination of a lot of people working on the movie who didn't understand what this kind of story was about, and the change up in leadership during production.
Yeah, that's never good for anybody. Like, if you've ever worked on a project at your job and you've had a change of management in the middle of a major project, you're already cringing at that idea. Like, but imagine doing that while trying to be creative. Like, ugh, just a nightmare. So we've got 2 questions to ask for the next couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
1, does this movie have the magic? No, this movie does not have the magic. There's no magic in this movie.
There's a lot of potential in this movie that this movie does not reach, so I'm going to say no.
The books probably have magic.
Yeah.
Give the books to somebody else who are willing to give them the time and attention and let them be what they are. This film on its own, no. There is not a bit of Disney in this. This feels nothing like any version of Disney prior to this film or even today.
Considering the previous film from this one was The Fox and the Hound, and the next movie after this is The Great Mouse Detective, both of those movies feel like Disney. This does not.
Yeah. This feels like it came from a different universe, and not a particularly good universe that anybody wants to go visit. I'm sorry, I truly loathe this film.
This is not a good mark on Ron. It is not a good mark on Ron Miller's career as the head of Disney.
No. And you can see why this film almost killed Disney.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, seriously, like, watching this film, you're like, ooh, yeah, I can see how this might have tanked the company. Today, if Disney released this film, there's no way this tanks Disney. But at a time when people were questioning, they hadn't made a princess movie in 30 years, people were already questioning, like, is Disney just for babies and stuff? This, at that time, I'm shocked that the company survived, honestly.
Especially since last week we saw Sleeping Beauty, and this was their attempt to try to mimic Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah, boy, what a failure that is. Like, even if this was a better movie, like, visually and stylistically, nothing in this feels like Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah.
But the big question answered, no. The second question of this little mini series is, does the princess deserve to be a Disney princess? Let's take away the movie has to be a hit. But just, does Princess Eilonwy fit in the mold of the other Disney princesses?
She does more than Aurora does.
She is a little bit more active and her own person than a lot of the early Disney princesses, so that's a mark in her favor, yeah.
I wish she had actually performed some magic if she is supposed to be of magical descent, but they never give her a chance to do it.
They did drop the floating magical ball on that one, yeah. But at least she's got magic around her, so that fits in with the Disney princess line.
Mm-hmm.
One of the unspoken rules of Disney Princess seems to be their relationship to animals, and she's the only one that loves Gurgi immediately.
Yeah, so you have that. I have Gurgi.
And Henwin also really likes her, so, okay.
All right. So we have the animal sidekick down.
She is of royal birth,
mm-hmm.
presumably. And according to the books, she is. Yeah. But, in the movie, they call her princess, so she's apparently a princess of something.
Mm-hmm.
But if you were in charge, taking away the movie has to be a financial success. If you were in charge of the Disney princess line, would you personally think Princess Eilonwy should be in the Disney princess line?
I want to say yes so much, but she doesn't do enough in this film to warrant it.
Yeah, she's... I also would not put her in there. There's something missing. There's a spark about her that's missing. I'm not sure that I really will remember her.
She doesn't have that damsel in distress that is a black mark. But she doesn't
the early princesses that are thought of more as damsels in distress, they had like a resilience and a grace about them that I'm not really... Maybe you could argue resilience, but she really doesn't have that graceful, ethereal kind of quality that some of the early princesses do. But she also doesn't have the, like, fighting, scrappy nature that some of the modern princesses do.
She's kind of like in between. She's like between Sleeping Beauty and The Little Mermaid. She's kind of the in-between of both. She's not quite as helpless, but she's not quite as helpful.
Yeah. I would not put her in.
No.
I just think I'm sorry, Princess Eilonwy, you just don't make the cut on any front.
Sadly, yes. Sorry, Black Cauldron fans. Yeah. Yeah. So,
I mean, we could revisit our opinion if they ever make that Black Cauldron TV series. I mean, who knows? Maybe Princess Eilonwy becomes my favorite Disney character.
Maybe she becomes like this super amazing sorceress that saves the day or something.
Yeah, that might be cool, but no.
Yeah, let's move on to, speaking of princesses that are Unsung. Next week, we are going to the lost city of Atlantis. Atlantis, the Lost Empire. Princess Kita. We're going to talk about.
Kita. As much as I dreaded the Black Cauldron this week, I am so looking forward to Atlantis. It's going to be such a breath of fresh air.
So yeah, join us next time for the Atlantis, the Lost Empire, and we're going to see if Princess Kita deserves to be a Disney princess. And we'll talk to you all next time. Bye.
Bye. Don't let the magic stop here.
Join our conversation online on Facebook at Rewatching the Magic.
Twitter at Rewatch the Magic.
And of course, new episodes every week at rewatchingthemagic.podbean.com.
Remember, the magic is for everyone.
It only stops if you let it.